The heavy oak doors swung open, and Judge Sarah Chen stepped into courtroom 6B, her black robes flowing behind her. The morning sun cut through the tall windows, casting long shadows across the polished floor. She settled into her chair, glancing down at the docket. State versus Marcus Williams. Armed robbery. Her eyes lifted to the defense table, and time stopped. The man in the orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed before him, turned his head. Their eyes met. Recognition hit like lightning. Marcus. Her Marcus. The boy who had shared his lunch with her every day in 3rd grade. The teenager who had taken the blame when she accidentally broke Mrs. Patterson's window. The friend who had vanished 30 years ago. Sarah's mind raced backward to 1985, to Riverside Elementary. She was 8, the only Asian girl in a predominantly white school. Marcus was 9, tall for his age, with kind eyes and a quick smile. They were inseparable. His mother, Ruth, would braid Sarah's hair on weekends. Her father, David, would fix Ruth's car without charging a dime. Two families bound by genuine love, not just tolerance. Then came that October afternoon. Someone had stolen Principal Howard's wallet from his office. $300 gone. Marcus had been seen near the office. No evidence, just suspicion. Just a black boy in the wrong place. Principal Howard called the police. They came with handcuffs, not questions. Marcus was 12. Sarah watched from her classroom window as they pushed his head down, forcing him into the squad car. She screamed his name until her throat bled. His family moved away 2 weeks later. She never saw him again. Until now, the prosecutor, a sharp-faced woman named Linda Vasquez, stood confidently. Her voice carried across the silent courtroom. Your Honor, the evidence is clear. On the night of March 15, the defendant entered Chen's convenience store on Maple Street. Sarah flinched at the mention of her uncle's store. Security cameras show a black male, approximately 6 feet tall, wearing a dark hoodie. The store owner was threatened with what appeared to be a weapon. $2,000 were taken. The defendant was arrested 6 blocks away, matching the description, with cash in his pockets. Marcus's attorney, a young public defender named James Porter, looked exhausted. His rebuttal was weak, grasping at reasonable doubt that seemed to slip through his fingers. The circumstantial evidence was damning. A black man, near the scene, with money. The jury looked convinced before the trial had barely started. Sarah felt sick, her mind warred with itself throughout the morning testimony. Protocol demanded neutrality. The law required impartiality. But she knew Marcus. Knew his character. The boy who had returned a wallet he found on the playground, refusing the reward. The teenager who had volunteered at the soup kitchen every Sunday. Could 30 years have changed him that much? Or was this another witch hunt, another rush to judgment? She watched him sit perfectly still, shoulders squared, dignity intact despite the chains. His eyes never showed anger, only a deep, resigned sadness. She had seen that look before, in the back of that police car decades ago. During lunch recess, she made a decision that could cost her everything. Bailiff, I am ordering an independent review of all evidence. This trial is postponed for 72 hours. I want every piece of security footage from a 4-block radius. I want witness statements re-examined. And I want the arrest report scrutinized by an outside agency. Linda Vasquez shot to her feet. Your Honor, this is highly irregular. Sarah's voice cut like steel. So is convicting an innocent man. Court adjourned. Sarah spent 3 days doing what the police should have done from the start. Real investigation. Real justice. She contacted her former law school roommate, now an FBI analyst. Together they examined the security footage frame by frame. The original tape from her uncle's store was grainy, deliberately so. But footage from the bank across the street, never requested by police, told a different story. The timestamp showed the robbery occurring at 9:47 p.m. At 9:43 p.m., Marcus Williams was clearly visible at a bus stop 8 blocks north, sitting beside an elderly woman, helping her with grocery bags. 4 minutes. Not enough time to commit a robbery and travel 8 blocks. Then came the breakthrough. A traffic camera caught the actual robber leaving the store. Different build. Different walk. And when enhanced, a visible tattoo on his neck. A serpent. Sarah's hands trembled as she cross-referenced the tattoo with police databases. Officer Derek Matthews. 3 years on the force. Multiple complaints of excessive force, all against black suspects, all dismissed. He lived 2 blocks from the store.
On the 3rd day, Sarah called Marcus to her chambers, against every regulation in the book. James Porter accompanied him. Marcus stood before her desk, still in restraints, his eyes older but still kind. "Do you remember me?" she asked quietly. His face softened. "Little Sarah Chen. You cried when your goldfish died. I buried it in my backyard. Made a cross from popsicle sticks." Tears streamed down her face. "They did this to you before." "That wallet, Marcus." Principal Howard found it in his car a week later. It had fallen between the seats. "Did you know?" He shook his head slowly. "Didn't matter by then. Damage was done. My dad lost his job. Mom got sick from the stress. We moved to Detroit, started over. I came back here last year to care for my grandmother. Thought enough time had passed. Thought things had changed." His voice cracked. "Guess I was wrong." Sarah stood, moving around the desk. "Not this time. Not again. I found him, Marcus. The real thief. And this time, everyone will know the truth." The courtroom was packed when they reconvened. Media cameras lined the back wall. Sarah had made sure of it. She wanted witnesses. "This court has completed an independent investigation," she announced, her voice steady and strong. "The findings are damning, but not for the defendant." She presented the enhanced footage on the courtroom monitors. The crowd gasped as Officer Matthews's face became clear. The arresting officer, Derek Matthews, robbed Chen's convenience store. He planted money on Marcus Williams during a fabricated stop and frisk 6 blocks away. The timestamps prove Mr. Williams's alibi. Furthermore, Officer Matthews has been identified in 2 other unsolved robberies using the same method. Linda Vasquez looked like she might faint. The back doors burst open. FBI agents moved swiftly toward Derek Matthews, sitting in the gallery in plain clothes. He ran. Made it 5 feet before they tackled him. His arrest was violent, ironic, everything he had done to countless others. Marcus stood frozen, disbelief washing over his features. Sarah brought down her gavel with finality. "All charges against Marcus Williams are dismissed with prejudice. Mr. Williams, on behalf of this court, this system, and personally, I offer my deepest apologies. What was done to you as a child was wrong. What was done to you now is unforgivable. But today, justice wins." She paused, her voice thick with emotion. "Welcome home, old friend." The courtroom erupted. Marcus's grandmother, 92 and fierce, stood in the front row, tears of joy streaming down her weathered face. James Porter embraced his client, shocked by the unexpected victory. Linda Vasquez quietly closed her files, knowing her office would face serious scrutiny. As they removed Marcus's restraints, he looked up at Sarah, and for a moment, they were just 2 kids again, promising to always look out for each other. 3 weeks later, Derek Matthews and 2 other officers were indicted on multiple charges. The police department announced mandatory bias training and body camera policies. Marcus received a settlement and used it to open a youth center in Riverside. Sarah visited often, sometimes bringing her own children. And on the wall of that center hung 2 photographs. One of a gavel. One of 2 children, one Asian, one black, arms around each other, smiling at a world they believed could be good. Today, that world was a little bit closer to their dream.